Hey folks, you'll have to forgive me. I never intended on this channel suddenly becoming the Star Wars channel and anything like that. But I have this weird tendency. My mouth kind of shoots off facts and truth whenever I hear a bunch of stupidity. So I tend to kind of talk about that or have the need to say something. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to have to. Because as a writer and as someone that has studied the art of cinema, storytelling, the fundamentals and everything like that, as I mentioned before, I've been mentored and everything, have 5, soon to be 6 novels on Kindle published, and would like to think I'm an artist myself in some way, shape, or form. It really annoys me when I see just what Disney has been doing to Star Wars. Now, I was never really a Star Wars fan. The original series is shit. So I never really got into it. And when my cousin tried to get me into it, I pretty much fell asleep midway through the series because it was just garbage. 60s sitcom trash. Now, I know that that's pretty much blasphemy on the internet because everyone has turned at least episodes 4 and 5 into the greatest movies of all time. But now they're not that good if you actually watch them again. So when I was able to see real, legitimate films in the Star Wars canon made by the creator George Lucas himself in episodes 1, 2, and 3, and even the CGI Clone Wars movie and series up to season 7 when Dave Filoni fucked it up, it really just annoyed me to see what Disney was doing, starting with The Force Awakens. And I warned you all back then, and you didn't listen. So, in that sort of venue, I would like to point out this little fact here. There was a show that Disney just recently shit out called The Acolyte. Don't worry, nobody really saw it. I didn't watch a minute of it, but I listened to a lot of people on this here forum talk about how bad it was. Now listen, I'm all about the plot, the main idea. And despite the fact that Disney typically doesn't put plots in most of their movies, it seemed to me the writer here wanted to instill her own personal interests in the sense of making a series about a misunderstood minority, a helpless misunderstood minority. I wonder what she was trying to refer to. But within that veneer of whatever the hell they were trying to prove, they instituted the concept that maybe, just maybe, there is a dark force power that creates life, and perhaps Darth Plagueis figured it out from them about 100 years before The Phantom Menace. Now, just so that you know, I'm going to repeat this again. Star Wars. Forget the expanded universe, the video games, the comic books, all that. Star Wars, via the creator of Star Wars, is the story of Anakin Skywalker, the Force-created demigod that brought balance, meaning no light, no dark, nor Sith, nor Jedi, in the universe by falling to the dark side and redeeming himself in the end. That is the story of Star Wars, as per George Lucas. I don't care what you want to believe. This is not up for debate. So, just to paint the picture for you as to where all this comes from. In Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. Technically, cinematically, fundamentally, it just is. You'll have to deal with that. But whatever, believe what you want to believe. In that movie, there is a scene where Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith, is trying to seduce the seemingly chosen one, Anakin Skywalker, and what he claims and believes is going to be the greatest Jedi of all time. He tries to convince Anakin to turn to the dark side, initially by kind of forging through Anakin's emotions that he can't control or hide well, and seeing that he had no real faith in the Jedi. So he tried to convince Anakin that the Jedi and the Sith were the same. This is during the opera, I think it was called the Mon Calamari opera, whatever, in the theater when they're sitting together, just the two of them. So he tries to convince Anakin that the Sith and the Jedi are the same, in which case Anakin dismisses that by saying the Jedi are selfless, they only care about others. Digging deeper into his consciousness, because that's what Jedi and Sith can do, he then notices that Anakin is stressing over something even deeper. that his wife, who had to be remained a secret, was now pregnant, and he was afraid she was going to die. Because according to the Kenobi show, from what I've heard, Anakin was all about power and killing the weak and protecting the strong and all this dumb shit. No, he was about saving everybody. Hence the metaphor of him being a Mary Sue, as you call him, where he fixes everything. It's a metaphor for he's the one that's supposed to fix everything. It's not that he's just supposed to be perfect, although he is a chosen one, so he is meant to be a little bit better than most people, but whatever, we'll move on. So he's afraid he's going to lose his wife as he lost his mother. We already saw a semblance of Darth Vader in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when he did see his mother die and he slaughtered an entire legion or clan or whatever your tribe of Tusken Raiders, and then kind of went a little nuts, but showed the depth of this character and how tragic it became, what he ended up becoming, and how he realized he couldn't be that way, but he couldn't help himself. So now, Sidious, masking himself as this kindly old man who is really well educated, known as Palpatine, the Supreme Chancellor, wheedles into his brain and sees that he wants to protect his wife from dying. This is what's freaking him out at this point. So he conjures up a story, a little tale, that was known as a Sith legend involving a Darth Plagueis who could manipulate the midichlorians to create life and even keep the ones he cared about from dying. That's what the key to that story was. To turn Anakin not only thinking the Sith actually helped people like he wanted, but could protect the ones he cared about from dying. Creating life with the Force is not a thing. The Force willed Anakin to be alive, but nobody magically conjured any kind of spell to make him live. So, before you start having a conniption fit and freaking the fuck out that I'm all wrong, I have scoured the internet, I have scoured the George Lucas interviews. There has never been anything that George Lucas said to verify that Plagueis was actually real. Not to mention a couple of questions I have for you, since you're so convinced. Number one, if Plagueis did create Anakin, why in the motherfuck would he do it to a slave woman out in the middle of Tatooine where the Republic doesn't even acknowledge it? What sense would that make? Wouldn't he create somebody like himself or somebody of a species that was just naturally greater in every way than humanity? After all, Watto did say that Anakin was a credit to the human race. So why wouldn't he do that in the middle of Coruscant so the Jedi would find him immediately? Why would he do it out in Tatooine? Two, he never says as Sidious that Plagueis was his mentor. The only hint was that he claimed Plagueis' apprentice killed him in his sleep after he learned everything Plagueis could teach him. But never, even as Sidious, does he say that was him. He said his mentor taught him everything about the Force, still masking himself as Palpatine. Once Anakin realized who he truly was, this is the third question. Why did Sidious then say to Anakin, to cheat death is a power only one can achieve? But if we work together, I know we can discover the secret. If he already knew how to create life using the dark side, because you know, everybody, when they get pregnant, they jump off a bridge because it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. It's so dark. I know the United States might want you to think it is, but it's so dark an ability to create life. But whatever the case, why did he use those words? And well, if you say, well, he's just lying to him, then why wasn't he lying to him about Plagueis? I mean, the whole thing is just stupid because it's a line in a fable, a Sith legend. And another thing, if Plagueis was hanging out with these witches out in this planet somewhere 100 years before when Puppet Yoda and that weird-looking version of Ki-Adi-Mundi were still around, why would they not realize the Sith were anywhere near them 100 years? And why would they not know that he used the Force to... I mean, like, the whole thing is so fucking stupid because it wasn't even the point of the story being told. The point of the story was to woo Anakin into becoming Darth Vader because he was fooled into thinking he could save his wife from dying using the Force. Well, he did learn how to cheat death when he was burnt alive to a crisp, incapable of breathing or even seeing on his own, and somehow survived with the Force. Now, I know your comic books want you to think that it was pins pronging his head or whatever keeping him alive. No, the suit wasn't keeping him alive. The suit was just helping him walk and breathe. His anger was keeping him alive. That's why when Luke said, "Let go of your hate," he said it was too late for him. And then when he did and reverted back to Anakin and saved the universe along with his son, as he was destined to do, he died immediately after. It wasn't the lightning. It wasn't the fact that his breathing apparatus went. It was because he returned to the light side and couldn't keep himself alive unnaturally. That's just how it is in the context of the movies that George Lucas either wrote, directed, produced, or had a little bit of something to do with it. Whatever you're seeing now from Disney, just ignore it because it's trash, okay? It's spitballing at everything the internet tells them, the so-called fans, who are the worst fans I've ever seen of any series ever in my entire life. Fans who love everything that's not actually Star Wars and despise everything that supposedly is, or is supposed to be Star Wars, meaning what came from George Lucas. But, you know, you believe what you want to believe. I just want to get the record straight that this was a whole series based on one fucking line that was taken out of context and had nothing to do with the reason why it was told in the first place. But hey, it's Disney. They made a whole movie based on a line in an opening crawl and got that completely wrong. But, you know, you all love Rogue One and you wonder why the series sucks so much. I thank you all for watching. I have more for you soon to come. So stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.